So if you're planning on listing your home, have you ever thought for a second that you may actually be planning on bringing your home to market at the wrong time? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Gianluca and I run a real estate team here in the GTA and surrounding areas called Grans Haven Real Estate. And if you'd like to book a chat with us, hit the link in the description box right down below or contact me at 647-818-1330 and I'll be more than happy to set up a private time to chat with you one-on-one. Let's get right into this video. So if you're planning on bringing your home to market, I've been going on a lot of listing appointments and some potential clients are confused on when is the right time to bring their home on the market. So I made a video about this before, a brief video. My simple answer to this is it all depends on your unique situation. It's important to sit down and have a conversation with a realtor who's going to walk into your life and discuss with you if now is the opportune time to sell one of your properties, whether it be your primary residence or whether it be an investment property or what have you. So objectively speaking, we all know this, it's no surprise. The more opportune times to list your home are in the springtime and in the fall time. However, the reason why I say it depends on your unique situation is because it depends on what's going on and what your actual goals are with respect to that property. So I'm making this video because I want to go a little bit more in depth with some hypothetical situations that can help shed some light. Obviously, we know there's a million different situations we can be in. That's why it's very important to sit down and have those conversations before we actually decide to list a home, to actually make sure that we are heading down the right path with respect to your goals and your desires. So what I did was I put together a couple of hypothetical situations and how we could potentially approach them. Before I go into these hypothetical situations, please know that this is not a substitute for financial advice. You always have to do what's best for you, your situation, and your family. Let's get right into it. So, hypothetical situation number one, we are going to discuss John and Jane. So, John and Jane own a primary residence and a cottage. So, a lot of people that I know, they live in a home and they have a cottage that they go on vacation to in the summer times. So, John and Jane, they live in their primary residence and they are considering selling their primary home to move to their cottage. However, they don't urgently need to sell either property and can afford to wait for favorable market conditions. They plan to monitor the interest rates and market trends to optimize their sale. Okay, so basically John and Jane, they live in a primary residence. They want to live and move up to their cottage. So they want to sell where they're living now and move up to their cottage. How would I approach this? Okay, so if the market is doing really well, I would say, listen, if we're at the peak of the market and the market is booming and they can get the most for their house, sit down, have the conversation, say, you know what, now may be the best time to list because you can always sell that property, take the proceeds, and then go live at your cottage. Again, assuming that they're not in an urgent situation to sell, maybe they don't have a mortgage on the cottage or both properties, or maybe the mortgage is really low. So what can you do? You can sell that primary residence and then end up moving up to the cottage if the market is doing well. Again, this is just one potential way I would approach it. It's not the be-all, end-all. I would obviously have to have a discussion with John and Jane. But if the market is how it is right now, where interest rates are still high and they're planning on coming down sometime this year, I would say, since you're not in a rush to sell, the primary residence that you live in, wait it out, wait until the property value actually goes up, and then you can sell your primary residence and move over to that cottage. So this way you get the most for your primary residence because there's no urgency. You'll have hopefully some cash in the bank, and then you can obviously move on to go to that cottage and pretty much live how you best see fit. A lot of times I see the situation with empty nesters where, their kids grew up and they have families of their own, and they have other properties and they, want to downsize or move somewhere else and have some money in the bank and go to another property that is more feasible for them, where they downsize and they can live more comfortably. So that's one potential way I would approach it. Obviously, I'd have to have a conversation to see what the best avenue would be for them in that case. Because if they were to sell in a slower market, they're not going to get the most for their primary residence. Let's go into the second hypothetical situation. So Sarah is facing high interest rates and financial constraints, making it challenging for her to afford her current mortgage. She's contemplating selling her house, to alleviate the financial burden as it has become no longer affordable. Okay, so in this situation, if her house is super no longer affordable and she's really, really, really constrained, even though the market is set to shape up in a slower market, let's just say 12 to 18 months down the line, if it's no longer financially feasible and it's going to cause, a life-altering situation if she doesn't sell, I would say, okay, we can put the house on the market and then go from there because the expenses have just become way too big, right? So that's the biggest thing. If somebody can afford to hang on and it actually makes sense to hang on, we can potentially explore the option to hang on to that property and wait for a more opportune time to sell. But the way things look, the interest rates are high. It doesn't seem like Sarah can actually afford to hang on. It's causing her a lot of stress. If it's going to alter her life from a financial perspective, okay, then we can potentially go on the market and list this home to alleviate her from some of those financial struggles. So that was situation number 2. Again, there's a million situations we can actually go into, but I just kind of want to shed some light as to how unique each situation can be and how we can approach it from an advising perspective. So this last one here, we have Mike and Michelle. So Mike and Michelle are looking to upsize their home. They're concerned about the potential impact of selling at a lower or higher market value on their ability to buy a larger property, especially considering the specific market dynamics in Vaughan. Okay, so we're looking in Vaughan. So they are looking to upsize. Okay, so let's take 2 approaches here. First approach, if they have a house in Vaughan and they're looking to upsize to go to another house in Vaughan, this is what I like to call left pocket, right pocket, right? So even though let's just say we're in a slower market condition and, property values are not heading up there just yet, I would say you can sell your home for a little bit less, but you can also get into a bigger product for less. However, if you want to wait for market conditions to improve, you can sell your home for a little bit more, but typically you're going to be paying for a little bit more to upsize your property. So let's just say we're going from a property in Vaughan to a bigger property in Vaughan. That's the way it works. Obviously, there's little nuances as well. Like let's say somebody sells a property in Vaughan and they want to go further out into a micro market. Yeah, they may be able to sell a little bit less, but if they go further out into the outskirts, they may be able to get into something obviously a little bit less depending on a micro market and how affordable the homes are there. But typically, as Toronto increases in value, it pushes out to the outskirts as well. So in this situation, if they want to go from Vaughan to Vaughan, I would say it's a left pocket, right pocket situation where, yeah, you might be able to sell for a little bit lower, but you're also purchasing something a little bit lower as well, and you're facing less competition to boot. So it's a left pocket, right pocket. That all depends on personal preference. So these are 3 hypothetical situations that we could encounter and how we could potentially approach them. Obviously, we'd have to have more conversations with these clients to see what the best avenue is for them, but there's no real cookie cutter answer as to when the right time to sell your home is. It all depends on when the right time to sell is for you based off your unique needs and what you plan to achieve in the future. I'm going to end this video off by saying, yes, we do have the opportune times in the spring and the fall, but it's important to sit down and have those conversations to make sure that we are making the right decision that is custom for you and your situation. If you found this video to be helpful, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're always the first to know when we drop new videos. Thank you so much, and until the next one, I'll see you guys.